Csathy, who is the founder and chair of a group called CREATV Media. Mr. Csathy, what is that?
We are a media tech-focused business advisory, development, and investment firm that's based in Southern California.
What does all that mean?
We help companies find capital, look for strategic opportunities for themselves, strategic investment, M&A activity. We advise them. We help them look at all the different possibilities in this brave new world where technology has radically transformed the media landscape. So we have a strong network. We know people across both traditional media and in the new media side, and we do a lot of connecting and also investing.
So are you a venture capitalist?
Yes. Part of the business for CREATV Media is that we have a venture capital fund with a couple different partners, one of which is two different actual partners in a law firm called Stubbs, Alderton & Marklees, which is based in Santa Monica, and they're very much a tech-focused boutique firm, high-end, great, really astute people. One of their early investments was Skype, as an example. And then another one of my partners in this new fund is Brad Jones, who is a founding partner of Redpoint. And Redpoint is one of the blue chippiest of venture capital funds that was based initially out of Silicon Valley.
So as a venture capitalist, what's your goal for a percentage of wins?
Well, our goal is to have 100% of wins, of course. The typical sort of thing that they say is that if you 2 out of 10, then you're doing okay. We think we can do much better than that because of how close we are to the business and because of the relationships we have. So our philosophy when we're looking at early stage media and tech companies is that we're looking for those who are really innovating but highly pedigreed, and we can bring the fact that I've been an operator as an example. I've run a number of digital media companies, sold them, and so we can help them from an operation standpoint, but we can also, so we can be active. But we have a really strong network and can get to just about anybody in the media and tech space with the group that we have.
Well, before we talk about your career and your book that you have coming out, walk us through a traditional or a typical investment that you would make. How would you start?
Well, so there are different ways to source new potential opportunities. We either may know of an early stage startup company by just the relationships we have, or frequently they come to us and they're looking for capital. So that's one way. We're also very close to a number of other venture capitalists who are in and around the space of media and tech, and because they know us and we know them, if they see a great opportunity, then they'll come to us and they'll say, hey, do you want to be part of this syndicate that invests in this fund? So one thing, given all of that, we don't have a problem sourcing capital or sourcing deals. Then it's a question of identifying which ones are the best, with the brightest people who have the best chance where we can help them succeed. And that's how we look to play in the game. And we focus on a pretty broad swath of digital media tech. So it can be video, it can be music, but it can also be virtual reality, augmented reality, esports, pure technology. So I'll give you one example. On the digital media side, we're invested in a company called 88 Rising. And 88 Rising is a leading Asian-focused, millennial-focused, mobile-first media companies. And based out of New York City, we're investors with others who are really high-end investors in the space. But on the other extreme, we're early investors in the founders of Skype, their new startup, which is a robotics company. So very much not what you would consider a digital media company, a hardcore technology play, but we're able to get in early because of the relationships that we have, and we like those kind of deals too. That you have the founders of Skype with that kind of track record, so that alone gives them a better shot to be successful again.
Why would the founders of Skype need your money?
Well, the founders of Skype they don't need anybody's money because they'll have money pouring in. It's more along the lines of we have a reputation that is sufficiently high where we're worthy to be part of that syndicate, but they also believe that we can help them with the relationships that we have, and also we know them, they know us, they feel comfortable with us, and that's the kind of investors that you want.
Peter, Csathy, just help us with the money aspect.
Yep.
Are we talking $10,000? Are we talking $10 million? Are we talking more, less, in between?
For our fund, we can invest anywhere between $50,000 up to $500,000 in any given deal. So we're early stage seed capital. But if we see a great Series A deal, which those are the ones that are typically larger than that, then we can deploy more capital than that.
So you talked about the fact that you're investing in different kinds of media and video.
Yeah.
What are some of the trends that you're seeing?
Well, certainly on the video side, the over-the-top or internet-driven video. So, the big players, of course, are the Netflixes, the Amazons, the Hulus of the world. But there's also this subset where you take a particular vertical audience, let's say foodies, who on the traditional side they would be watching the Food Channel or something like that on cable. Well, there's an internet-driven, so this digital media, new media-focused company called Tastemade, and Tastemade is the leader in that category. So you have it delivered really with a mobile-first audience in mind, so on the go, but then on demand, anywhere. And that's when you look at different underserved audiences because there's so many people out there. We all have different interests. If you're in a traditional world, yes, we have many channels available, but there's still, you can't focus on every possible interest. Now, in the brave new world of digital media, the great power of it is that you can serve all of these different audiences. And when you aggregate even, let's say, like 88 Rising. 88 Rising, the one that we invested in. There you have a millennial-first audience in mind with content that is very authentically Asian, but that whole milieu of Asian pop culture is very interesting on a global basis, including to the kids who are in the United States. You don't find that kind of channel anywhere on a traditional programming deck, but in this brave new world, you have 88 Rising that can serve that audience, which is millions and millions and millions of kids around the world. So here's what I would call a segment, a hyper-focused segment of Asian content for a millennial audience, where a company like 88 Rising can capture that market opportunity. And you see this trend across all kinds of underserved audiences, where if you play your cards right, you have the right people to build, and you focus, hyper-focused, you can serve that audience and build a really strong company that has the potential to be hundreds of millions of dollars of value, if not more than that.
So are those the type of things that people are going to learn from your book, Media 2.0? Parenthesis 18, an insider's guide to today's world of
all that and more,
and where it's going.
All that
is it written for the layman, or is it written for the investor or the techie?
It's really written. It's written for everybody, and that truly, it's written in a more conversational style. I've been blogging for a long time. I don't want it to be hyper technical, and so it's a great guide to getting a lay of the land of where the digital media landscape is today. That means in video, streaming music, virtual reality, augmented reality, esports, and then you get into things like blockchain, where the media and entertainment business is not even really focusing on, but that's going to be a huge story starting in 2018. And then beyond that, I give my traditional predictions of where the world is going, and then I also put in things that I've seen being an operator or investor of real news you can use, so it's practical. After you read the book, you can take some real action to be a hero within your company and help this transformation, really help fuel the transformation of the media and entertainment content space through technology. And then on the expert side, I think the best way to capture is that I've had a lot of the experts who are insiders. By the way, I've interviewed over 20 insiders, including the former CEO of Hulu as an example, Mike Hopkins. But the experts tell me that they get a lot out of it too, because there's so much ground for all of us to try to understand. I try to bring it home to everybody so that it will ground you give you a good understanding of where things are, where they're going, the lead players in the space, what their strengths and risks are. That's what it aims to do.
You used a term, blockchain.
Yeah.
You said it's going to be a big deal in 2018.
Yes. Blockchain is a new kind of technology that takes out the middleman, like the service provider, like the Netflixes of the world or the Googles of the world, where a content creator can now directly reach an audience and monetize it themselves through a technology that's, the best way to explain it, it allows for a direct link between the creator and the audience, and a monetization aspect to it, a monetization layer that's baked in that can't be broken. At least that's the theory of it, where it cannot be hacked. So it's highly secure. Which also means, so on the offensive side for a creator, it's a wonderful thing, because now instead of giving 30% of what you make as a creator to YouTube, as an example, because it's the 70-30 share, now you can actually get it all 100% for yourself as a creator. On the defensive side, blockchain has the promise of actually eradicating piracy. That's the power of it. So now content can be traded across the internet, and it's purportedly, again, this is the theory of it, but it's in blockchain's already, that's behind the cryptocurrencies. But in theory, it cannot be hacked.
Where did the name blockchain come from?
I have no idea.
But Peter, Csathy, isn't that just basically, if I have a website, I can broadcast on my website whether or not people watch, and that's 100% for me, isn't it?
Yeah, anybody can get their content across. It's really a question of security. So if you want to monetize it, if you don't want it to be pirated, you don't want your content stolen because you have a different kind of business model than just making it freely available to the world, then blockchain technology. If you are a Hollywood studio or somebody that's creating C-SPAN, creating great content, and you don't want it to be hacked out there, you want to have control of your own destiny of how you find your audience, blockchain is going to be something that's going to be critical for C-SPAN and others to know about. And so in the past year, everybody's hearing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is built on top of blockchain technology. But blockchain is not just about cryptocurrency. It's about all kinds of different things that I can't speak to, but certainly in the media and entertainment business, the promise is the direct distribution, disintermediation, which is a potentially very scary thing for the service providers who are out there, and also the fact that it eradicates piracy. That's the hope.
And let's go to some of the service providers and traditional media. Do you consume and use traditional media?
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely. And so I'm still a subscriber to satellite TV as an example. But the whole idea of what is traditional anymore is kind of being flipped on its head. Now, Netflix is very much, I would say, traditional viewing. Hulu is traditional viewing. So Amazon, a lot of people don't know that if they're Prime subscribers, $99 a year for your deliveries, free delivery, you're also getting your own Netflix-like service, and that's all becoming traditional. So, and then you have the formerly traditional studios who now have their own internet-driven services directly, like HBO. HBO was very much a traditional channel, the premium leader, but HBO now is, you can get it on Apple TV, $15 a month, and you have all the great HBO content on demand, or you can now buy DirecTV now, which is, instead of paying what I'm paying, $200 a month for DirecTV, with DirecTV now, I can get essentially the same service for, depending on the package you get, let's say $70, and you get HBO thrown in for free. So from a consumer's perspective, the fact that the traditional and the former new media companies or digital companies have converged, it's great for consumers because you have more choice than ever before in terms of service providers. If you don't like somebody, you don't have to worry about a cable guy coming in to switch your service. You can just stop paying that month and then go to the next guy. And then, so you get all this wonderful content, and it's content wars out there. You get all this wonderful content, and you get it for a fraction of what the cost was before.
So where are the advertising dollars going? How do you monetize all this great content?
Well, it's interesting because that's the $64,000 question, of course. And when you're talking about the Netflixes or Amazons, the monetization comes through the subscription without advertising. And so advertisers have to find a new way to be able to reach and engage with an audience. There are some advertising video on demand services, but those are becoming fewer and far between because monetizing in the online world through advertising, that has become something that is much more challenging than ever before because Google and Facebook own the world when it comes to the online advertising dollars.
How does 5G fall into all of this? Have you been following that as well?
5G?
Yeah.
Well, just in terms of, again, when you talk about 5G, it's just faster and faster pipes, essentially. And so now we are a mobile-first world. It's not like, it's not just millennials who are mobile first anymore. I think all of us now, we pick up our phones and we're watching videos. And one thing on that, Peter, just like 6 years ago, nobody in the traditional media world believed that we would be watching TV shows or movies on our mobile devices. Very few did. And so here we are, and we're very much a mobile-first world right now. 5G enables, and then as we get faster and faster and faster, higher quality video. But not just that. Then you get into immersive services like augmented reality and more. And so you need more and more data being pumped through.
Well, we're here at CES. What caught your eye here this week?
Well, I think that
you didn't know about, maybe. Or is this
nothing? This may sound like a cop-out. There really wasn't anything that caught my eye that I didn't know about. I would say that CES is always about televisions. No matter what happens, CES is always about televisions too. And so higher end, and how much higher can we all go? We always ask that question, yet they keep churning them out and we keep buying them. I think a big story is that voice is a very big story. So this is artificial intelligence driven Siri, Alexa, Google Voice, and now it's becoming commonplace for people to buy those, but I don't think people realize how much this is going to be really infiltrating our lives, including influencing our media and entertainment choices, because we'll be turning to our virtual assistants to be able to help us make sense of all the noise out there. But at the same time, they're listening to us. And so, yes, they're giving us perhaps recommendations of what we like based on what we've already watched. But you can bet they're going to also be these virtual assistants will be serving up advertising in a different package, not with a hammer over your head like buy. But you can bet that this will all be soaking in and finding a better way to target us as consumers to spend our money. So voice is a very big theme of CES this year, and in the media and entertainment business.
How do you get from Golden Valley, Minnesota with a degree in political science to becoming a Universal Studios executive to becoming a venture capitalist?
As a kid growing up, and I was 30 below zero, which I didn't mind that much, but I would see the weatherman on the news showing us. Meanwhile, in Southern California, you have this guy surfing, and I needed to get there. I was always interested in media and entertainment from the time I was a little kid. So I knew I was going to go west. And I knew I wanted to be in the business in some respect. I love music. I love motion pictures. I was one of those kind of kids. And I love the weather. I mean, truthfully, that had a big part of it. And my first job was, after law school, was to be an entertainment lawyer. And that was my entry point. I knew I wasn't going to be a lawyer in a firm for a long time, but that was my entry point. And then that morphed into this kid just being tenacious and without any real connections, just kind of forcing my way into the media, into the belly of the beast in the media companies themselves at Universal Studios. And then kind of once you're in, then it's a lot easier.
We've been talking here at CES in Las Vegas with Peter Csathy. His book is Media 2.0, an insider's guide to today's world of digital media and where it's going. He's also the founder and chair of CREATV Media.
Great to be here.